What's good? Marsh4ll here, and today Linus has a few interesting topics to talk about. Luke and Linus, for that matter. This is on Linus's Tech Tips channel. It's titled "A GPU You Might Be Able to Buy, But Shouldn't." Also, before I get into everything, yo Joey, what's good? Stream's going good. Before I get into anything, drop by my channel, please. Listen, I know people are watching. YouTube is telling me that people are watching but aren't subscribing. Subscribe, please. It helps me out a lot. That's all I'm asking, and that's the only time I'll ask. In the duration of this video, at least. Also, let me show you real quick how to get. Do you know how to get free games on your PC? I'm talking about EA games, games on Steam, games on Battle.net, games on Blizzard, games on Origin. Real quick, do me this favor. Go here. Do this. Google Prime Gaming. Click the first link. It'll take you here. You click games, scroll down. For the month of January, they literally have 9 games for free that you can download. Do yourself a favor and take a break from Call of Duty Apex Legends and Halo and play one of these games. At least claim them. You don't even have to download them. At least claim them so they're in your library. You can play them later. But I just finished playing Paper Beast. I'll link that video I'll create a link in this video for it, so you can take a look at it. But yeah, I'm playing Fahrenheit right now. I'll also link that in this video somewhere so that you can go watch it. Let's turn down the zoom in this, honestly. I feel like it's way too close to my face. Give me 1 second. Alright, sorry about that. Anyway. Hey, it's an honor for me, Joey, to be quite honest. I'm literally recording right now, so you're about to be in my YouTube video. I hope you don't mind that. So let's take a look at this. All right, let's take a look at this.
I have lost 25
And it's of course an ad to start off with, so we're gonna go to our little cutscene here. And
a new
then go
GPU
back.
is launching. Will you be lucky enough to get one?
Hold up. Let's put some subtitles on, and then let's play this back in 1.5 speed, just in case. I don't know if Linus has any copyright protection on his videos, so there's that.
Before they're gone. What do you mean, what are the specs? It's a new GPU. You have to buy it, right? You'll have to forgive me for being a little jaded at this point. It's tough to truly get excited about these launches, and this one's especially tough for me because AMD's pulling out all the stops to cost down the new RX 6500 XT. With 16 RDNA 2 compute units, this thing isn't much more powerful on paper than AMD's new Ryzen 6000 mobile APUs.
So that, oh snap.
Is there anything to be excited?
So wait, hold up. Basically, all right, so basically he's saying, to start off with, yes, this Radeon RX is dope, it's new, but its max boost is 2.8 gigahertz, and its computing units is only, it maxes out, it looks like, at 16. And then if you take, again, that, put it on paper next to an APU, which is for use in mobile devices, that compute units go up to the APU, the Ryzen 6000 APU, it goes up to 12 compared to 16, which isn't that far off. And we're talking about graphics card, right? Compared to a cell phone. and then 2.4 gigahertz as a max boost instead of 2.8. So
this thing
they
isn't
already
much more
start coming
powerful on
in
paper
hot here,
than
bud.
AMD's new Ryzen 6000 mobile APUs. Is there anything to be excited about here, or does AMD just think you'll buy anything at this point? I think you'll buy this segue to our sponsor, though. Privacy.com lets you shop online with virtual credit cards that offer way more security and control than conventional cards. Click the link in the description to get $5 to spend on your first purchase when you sign up below. According to AMD, first, you slash the number of compute units, video memory, and memory interface compared to even a 5-year-old GPU. Then, you cut from 16 PCI Express Gen 3 lanes to 4 Gen 4 lanes for half the total bandwidth. Finally, and this step is important, you remove the media engines encoder blocks and all but 2 of the display outputs, one HDMI 2.1 port and one DisplayPort 1.4. Yes, this GPU has a lower transistor count than the RX 570, a card that kinda sucked on its own, although that's not to say that this has no tricks up its sleeve. The core clocks are cranked up past 11, with peak boost getting shockingly close to 3 gigahertz.
So look at this. It's got a game max or a game clock at over 2600 megahertz, and a max boost of over 2800 megahertz. It's got 4 gigs of RAM, which it could be better, but I mean I don't know the price yet, so there's that. And then it has 16 megabytes of infinity cache. So let's hear the price. I want to hear the price.
What's more, the more efficient RDNA 2 architecture on TSMC's N6 process, and this is the first GPU using it to make it to market, makes for a graphics card that's less power hungry than that old card, albeit just by about 40 watts or so. From the spec sheet alone, the RX 6500 XT looks more like an energy efficient RX 580.
Here it is. So, okay. So did he 570? Okay. Well, 570 has double the compute units, but still has a transistor count of, well, it has and has 3 billion more transistors. So there's that.
Makes for a graphics card.
So the Radeon is going to use, the RX 570 does use more power.
TSMC's N6 process, and this is the first GPU using it to make it to market. Makes for a graphics card that's less power hungry than that old card, albeit just by about 40 watts.
So again, see here, the 570 does use, and it says albeit by about 40 watts or so. That's still, I mean, hey, if you're counting on your energy bill, if you're counting the kilowatt usage, hey, that could come in handy.
Or so. From the spec sheet alone, the RX 6500 XT looks more like an energy.
And here it is. So the 570 is $169, right? Compared to $199 for this. I think, again, the whole branding thing, what NVIDIA does with their graphics cards, the TI version, this is an XT they put after this, so it looks cooler, right? There's a higher number, 6500 compared to 570, right? But at the same time, you can save 30 bucks by getting yourself a Radeon RX 570. And, well, this is the launch price, let's keep in mind. But you can still, probably get a used one, if not for the same price, maybe a little bit lower, depending on after this video how many people freaking scalp the prices for this. All right, but anyway, point being is, if you don't need to have like the newest thing and your graphics card is fine, and you do actually have like a Radeon or 570 and you see this come out, right? Don't be a transistor counter. Don't be a freaking clock counter, okay? Your Radeon 570 is fine.
Efficient RX 580, which isn't a great sign for what is supposed to be a $200 GPU in 2022. Granted, with inflation, the RX 570 is actually closer in price.
So this is okay. I take that back. I'm gonna go piss. Hey, yo, Joey. Anyway, with inflation, okay. Let's do this. Don't forget to check out Prime Gaming. Radeon 570. How much? Boom, right here. XFX RX 570 P4 DFD6 Radeon RX 570 4GB GDDR5 graphics card. $99 refurbished techie parts. I don't really know how reputable they are, but it looks like they sell a few of them. They have an MSI, boom, MSI X Radeon RX 570G DDR5 4GB Crossfire DirectX. So I don't think that's I don't think that's ray tracing. I think that's right before ray tracing. 12 DirectX 12 graphics video card for $99. Don't buy anything from Alibaba. This looks like a picture as seen on image. Bruh, don't believe it. Don't buy it. Let's go back to the video before we get off track.
This isn't a huge performance per dollar improvement in the span of 5 years. At least on paper, we've gathered an array of old and new GPUs, including the RX 580, in order to put the AMD's performance claims to the test. It's worth mentioning that AMD's target audience...
Corsair made one? Oh no, it has... The storage is Corsair.
Is folks with GPUs several generations old, so our test rig is actually giving it the best possible scenario to stretch its legs. Your mileage will surely vary, and it looks like it varies for the RX 6500 XT's gaming performance too. F1 2021 starts off with some pretty low performance for AMD's new GPU, reaching less than 75% of the performance of the RX 580 from 2017. I reran this bench a bunch because it doesn't make any sense, but that's what I got. Things get even worse when we enable ray tracing, where just 16 ray accelerators isn't nearly enough to keep frame rates playable in a title like this. Remember, the RX 6600 has less than twice the compute units, but that card performs nearly 3 times faster. It's possible that video memory is a bottleneck here, which really shows its face in Far Cry 6, where the game itself even straight up says that every preset but 1080p low is more than the GPU's frame buffer can handle. Surprisingly, the performance at 1080p high doesn't tank.
Look at this, though.
It's just enough to squeeze by, and only the RX 6600 outperforms it here. When we turn on ray tracing, though, yep, there's your VRAM bottleneck.
Just talking about, so you're not going to get ray tracing with the 580. I don't even know. They didn't even put the 570 on here. So, 1660 and the 1070 and the 580 don't have ray tracing, right? So this is where the XT is gonna come and more competition, but at the same time, look at the frames for freaking second, dog. The RX 6500, you're not gonna be able to play a video game in 1080p with DirectX ray tracing on, with all the presets maxed out, which is why you're buying a new graphics card anyway. Yo, Joey, thanks for stopping by. Appreciate it, bro. Thanks for stopping by, bro. You're not gonna be able to. Hey, subscribe to my YouTube, Joey. You're not gonna be able to play this game, right? 15 frames a second, you're not gonna be able to play this game. So it's like, why would you even buy it? Stick with what you got. You're only buying a new graphics card to play your games and see your videos in a better quality. Why get it if you can't do it?
Right there. Told you it was marginal. To be clear, guys, you're not going to want to run anything ray trace with this class of GPU without running some kind of upscaling algorithm like AMD's Fidelity FX Super Resolution. And even then, it's probably a bad idea. These RT tests are all about the relative performance versus the RX 6600 rather than some kind of endorsement or lack thereof. Forza Horizon 4 brings some more good news for the RX 6500 XT, though. The medium preset easily fits into memory, so we see performance unequaled by any other GPU save its bigger brother. This carries over to Hitman 3 too, although there's a big asterisk that needs to be thrown over this one. These numbers are for the second run of the benchmark. The game pitches bad on the first run every time, and that's a problem. I think this is a result of memory bandwidth being just so low, because once the assets are in memory, everything's fine. Streaming in textures and assets really hammers the 64-bit memory bus. Now, AMD claims the effective memory bandwidth is up to 231 gigabytes per second, but the problem with this number is that it's using the infinity cache, which is ridiculously fast by comparison. The real bandwidth is 144 gigabytes per second, and that is rough. It's below the RX 580. That's why it's chugging. It's filling the small infinity cache and then dumping it out the RAM as fast as it can, and it's just not fast enough. All of these settings were fully within AMD's guidance, by the way. Finally, CSGO is a title that's very bandwidth hungry, as we discovered in our recent GPU splitting exploration, and it's confirmed big time here. 16 megs of infinity cache isn't enough, and it falls behind even the RX 580 in terms of minimum frame rates, which is made even worse by the 6500 XT's higher average FPS. That higher variation will feel like stutters in-game and can lead to missed shots or worse. It's not a great experience. Productivity isn't this class of GPU's forte, but AMD had a pretty good run at the top of the charts back in the day. Blender is not good. The new HIP API support does its job with the RX 6600, but the 6500 XT only beats the RX 580.
What's up,
because that card is no longer supported. While it beats out the GTX 1660 in Photoshop, it loses to everything else and every other test, with substantially less performance in DaVinci Resolve, likely thanks to its 4GB frame buffer. Indigo benchmark shows it beating out its ancestor pretty soundly, but every other card does too, so it's not a great shot.
X-Green
Mind
gems.
you, all of these cards cost a fortune on the street by comparison.
Talking about,
but the GTX 1660 launched at $219, so it's really a loss for AMD. The 6500 XT is...
Guys, we're talking about if you should buy this graphics card. Do you want to buy this graphics card? Probably not, bro. Probably not. You don't need to buy this graphics card. If you buy this graphics card, I'm telling, and you have, all right, so if you have the 65, if you buy the 6500 and you have the 570, you are a fool. I'm sorry, you're a fool. And if you want, you can look back in this video, but we literally just, now we're at the productivity part. Appreciate everybody who's followed within a few seconds here. Dr. Beeper, Arline Sprawl, I'm Grayson Rogers. Who else? Goldana, Cassie, Res Runner, Gold Speaker. What's good, guys? What do you think? What do you think? What kind of GPU you guys got? What's up, G-Har fam? What's good? Thank you, thank you, thank you. Appreciate the bits.
Not something someone with a card in this class would want to upgrade to for productivity. Instead, you should upgrade to a water bottle from LTStore.com. Unlike GPU VRAM, we don't charge.
What a great
time for an upgrade for an old PC with this class of GPU as AMD intends, chances are you only have 4 or 6 cores at best, and you're probably running PCI Express Gen 3. This card has 4 Gen 4 lanes, which is fine in a Gen 4 board, but in a Gen 3 board, that's half the bandwidth, which might not be so fine.
Let's take a second to appreciate. Yo, just got ghost rated by my fam. Hope you're good, homie. Come hang with us sometime. Of course, man. Of course. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate the love, man. Thank you. Shout out. Hey, shout out. I'm Grayson Rogers. You're a real one. Appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. Hey, be sure to stop by his channel and check him out on Twitch. I'm gonna put this on my YouTube channel. Hey, everybody here in this chat, please go to my YouTube channel. Please follow my YouTube channel. I'm gonna put this video on there, so thanks everybody for being here.
That's a bottle.
And appreciate I am Grayson Rogers for the Ghost Raid.
Although whether it'll be a problem depends on how weak your CPU is. The bigger problem for potential upgraders is that there's no hardware video encoding support, so streaming has to be done entirely on the CPU cores or integrated graphics if you got them. This might not be such a big deal with simpler esports titles that don't take full advantage of more than a couple of cores, but if you're a budding streamer looking to stream all of your gameplay, you'll probably want to look elsewhere, or else play older or very simple titles. Now, as with any of these lower-end GPUs, without Founders Edition style cards, thermals are going to vary from design to design. And that's another thing.
Imagine getting this and thinking, yo, I'm gonna, my stream game is gonna go through the roof now because I can play at higher FPS and whatnot. And then you want to also stream in 1080p or however, whatever the resolution is, and it's like, why is my game chugging along? Like I can't even what's it called? I can't even play. And now the people who wanted to see me play this game can't even watch.
and there's no reference cooler to compare against, so take this one with some salt. Our XFX Quicksilver 210 card's dual fan layout seems to be a little bit overbuilt for this GPU, with the hotspot never reading beyond 75 degrees except for a brief spike while rendering the initial loading screen. The RX 6600 happens to share the same cooler, and it reaches just past 80 degrees throughout the run. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody were to make a single slot variation of this card, particularly seeing how there's only 2 display outputs to work around. Power consumption is where things get very interesting, as it's almost a linear drop from the 28 compute units on the RX 6600. Power draw only briefly breaks the 100 watt mark while rendering the loading screen, and settles in at an average around 80 watts during the run proper. Now, this is the default power target for this card, but the fact that it remains at max core clocks near 2.9 GHz is impressive. That said, if AMD had shaved off just 5 watts more power consumption, they could have been the only modern GPU with no PCI Express power requirements. At the end of the day, the RX 6500 XT is a GPU.
And that would be a huge selling point. That would be a huge selling point. Yo, real quick, shout out to all 7 of you guys in here. You're real ones.
GPU for the desperate, plain and simple. It trades blows well enough to work out to roughly equal the GTX 1660 or 1070 in gaming, which is great. But it falls behind those older cards. Anywhere 4 gigabytes of video memory is too little, and the unfortunate reality is, this is already a problem for AMD's own guidance. Heck, it was a problem for the RX 580. Nobody wanted the 4 gig version for $200 back in 2017.
Nope.
And it's only going to get worse from here.
Nope.
For an extra $100 or so, the RX 6600 represents shockingly close to double the performance. If, of
Especially
course, you
since
buy
a
one
year later you'll be able to buy like a 16, not a 16,
even its NVIDIA equivalent,
an
a
8
good
gig
value, but this is the world we inhabit today.
VRAM
The RX 6500
GPU
XT
for
really could have been
maybe,
something special if AMD hadn't brutalized it to meet that $199 price point. At least these are using new manufacturing capacity, unlike some of NVIDIA's other upcoming GPUs.
It'd be
but the
made by
RTX 3050
NVIDIA.
is
Hold up, let's go back here.
Capacity, unlike some of NVIDIA's
I just wanted
other
to make sure there
GPUs,
wasn't any
but the RTX 3050 is going.
And so I also did a video on this on my YouTube channel, the RTX 3050, yesterday. Check it out. I'll link it in here somewhere at the end of this. But the GeForce RTX 3050, bro, this you can get this GPU for like $250. Yeah, I mean, like it says, good luck finding it at this price, but
going to come in at a $50 premium with 8 gigs of fast
3050,
a full media engine, and more than 2 display outputs, which makes it pretty compelling on that basis alone in high MO. Get subscribed, by the way, because we're going to have a full review of that card ready for its launch, too.
I'm already subscribed.
I'm left with a sour taste in my mouth. Not because AMD cut the card down, but because, quite frankly, I would recommend waiting until the RTX 3050 launches to make your decision on whether to buy this thing.
Ooh.
But because of the current market situation, the reality is that you don't have that long. You might not even be able to find one as of right now, thanks to miners, scalpers, and desperate gamers.
I think that's an actual GTX 3050 that you can buy.
It's a sure thing. They'll sell out. Just like I sell it for sponsors like HelloFresh.
Thanks to HelloFresh for sponsoring this video. Time for a healthy New Year's resolution?
All right, Linus, thank you for that ad. All right, so whatever thoughts you may have on that, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the new Radeon GPU, but at the same time, I don't use AMD. So who am I to judge, right? Who am I to judge? I am a simple man with simple pleasures that uses a 3060 to play games and stream off of. So who am I to judge? Next one, we're gonna watch a GPU here. Let's switch here to, sorry, let me get this. The Apple vs. Float Plane saga continues. I have it on starting soon just because it's an ad. And let's skip this ad.
So earlier this week, pretty early in the morning, I got a call from Apple. I knew it was a call from Apple because I've received a call from Apple exactly one other time, although I actually knew it was coming that time. And your phone comes up with just Apple as the caller ID. So I was like,
crazy.
That's interesting.
How do you do that?
I pick it up, and I wanted to... I was very interested in what this was about. We've complained about Apple a lot publicly to do with our iOS app, so I assumed it had something to do with that, and it did. My customer service agent told me not long before this that he had dealt with a very interesting ticket where someone had CC'd Tim Cook. And
what the heck?
I just kind of laughed and was like, oh, okay, whatever, and we moved on. I'm sure this person also did other things other than just CCing Tim Cook, because they said they were going to try to contact people, and what they were trying to do was actually help us. They were trying to contact people at Apple to try to push them to allow us to take third-party payments through the app. What the customer service agent said, which is now much more relevant due to the stuff that has literally happened since we sat down to do this show. Give me 1 second to find it.
I'm feeling very apprehensive right now, Luke. I would like this story to continue in an expedient manner.
Okay. It's okay. Everything's okay is the final answer.
Thank
if
you.
that helps. Everything ends up being fine.
That's very good to know.
I think he's talking about.
So a customer service agent guy says something that is...
Purchases.
Okay, where is it? We also can't collect payments on iOS due to lack of support for third-party payment solutions, Stripe and PayPal, which is a little wacky, and I've already talked to him about it. Whatever. The problem is for, and it was a pretty confusing phone call in a few ways. If we do Apple Pay, they take 30%. If we do in-app payments, which is different than Apple Pay, they take 30%. We can apply for a small business thing. We've talked about this on WAN Show before, actually. We talked about it when they announced it.
Yeah, it's like less as long as you're under $1 million revenue.
Yes, so you have to apply for it. We would probably get in.
They definitely
but they take
fixed
15%
his green screen
unless you break that $1
since
million
the last video, because
and then
his
it goes
green
up to
screen
30%.
was
And
freaking
our problem with that
atrocious
is
last
our margins are
video.
actually pretty thin. If they're taking 30% on a, I believe, I don't remember how I did the math. I don't remember if it was for a $3 subscription or a $5 subscription, but at one of those two marks, because our costs are fixed, the creators just make whatever on top of our costs that they charge. But there's no margin left, essentially. At 30%, there's no margin left. So if we somehow broke that $1 million revenue threshold, we would immediately just make nothing off of all the Apple stuff. So it's not really an option for us. Joining the small business thing doesn't save us, because once we break past that threshold, we're potentially screwed. I did ask, and they didn't know right off the top of their head, and I didn't expect them to, because they weren't a master of this section of it, but the person that I was talking to on the phone wasn't sure if the 30% applied to only payments that were past the 1 million, like taxes, or if it was all payments. But either way, it doesn't work for us, so we can't do that. But we talked about a bunch of stuff on the phone, because we talked about how we've had a lot of problems with the app in the past, with them trying to use our login for other things, with them denying our app for 6 months through a variety of
reason.
Jesus Christ.
No reason. And I talked about how, like, a lot of these different problems, we don't know if they're actually problems or not. People in the public have told us that we're allowed to do certain things with iOS apps. We have then tried to do them, and we've had our app denied for them. We have done the exact same thing that other large apps on the iOS store have done to try to get around it that way, and they have denied our app. At one point in time, we took to the exact error text from Netflix to just, like, we know this is a massive app. Let's just do it the exact same way they do it. And we got denied because it wasn't allowed. Like, I went through all that kind of stuff, and they were good. The person on the phone was very reasonable, very understanding. Yeah. It was a good phone call. But I was airing a lot of grievances, and they were good at dealing with it. But one of the things that they said was, multiple times, was that the app in its current state is fine. And I was like, yeah, I know, because it, like, just got approved. But, like, I'm not really happy with where it's at, because we can't communicate to people. The whole problem where this was rooted in, the person's problem that they had, was they weren't a subscriber on Floatplane yet. They installed the app on iOS, and then the warning was confusing to them, because we can't tell them to go to floatplane.com to subscribe. We're not allowed. So we're still not allowed to do that. So we can't resolve the core problem. They want us to enable in-app purchases, but there's the whole 30% thing, so we can't really do that. So we're kind of just stuck where we were, but I hopefully have a better understanding of the rules now, which is good. Except, while we were on the show, we got an email, and again, multiple times they said the app in its current state is fine. While we were on the show, I got an email saying your app, Floatplane, does not follow the App Store review guidelines. Your Floatplane app, Apple ID, blah, 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 does not follow one or more of the App Store review guidelines. For more details, or contact App Store Review, visit the Resolution Center. And I was like, oh my goodness, this happened literally during the show. So while you were sitting there talking about a different topic, I bring up the Resolution Center to figure out, like, what's wrong with our app. And it's a nicely written email from the person I was on the phone with, following up with a few, like, references and documentation that I wanted so that I could better understand a few things. But they sent it through the Resolution Center, so our app is now flagged.
Oh.
Why? It's nice. They're a nice person. It's a well-written.
Wow.
Thank you for your time on the phone today. Blah, blah, blah. As discussed, here's a bunch of different links for a variety of different things that'll help me in the future. It's nice. I wanted this. I wanted it as an email. I did not want it as a Resolution Center, like your app is now flagged as not following guidelines thing. I think our app is still up on the store.
He'll be fine.
Oh wow! My camera just fell.
Welcome back.
I caught it. Hold on.
Oh my God, Luke.
Oh, Luke. I had nothing to do with that. I wasn't there.
Clearly.
That was not my fault. I dropped nothing.
Wow.
We know.
That was actually really close. It would have, if it actually falls from where it is, it'll whack its lens on the mount of my monitor, so that would be bad. But anyways, I don't know what to do at this point, guys. We released an update recently for iOS, so notifications work properly through iOS now.
Yeah.
Which is cool. They approved it actually very quickly. It hit the store very quickly. We haven't had issues since the last time we complained about it. I think the app is still up on the store. I'm going to have to send in an appeal for this informational letter that was sent in to make sure that that flag gets removed. Because right now, if I go to like my admin panel for the iOS store, it says, it has a big warning thing that says there are one or more issues with following platforms, one unresolved iOS issue. It's probably fine, but this is just like, oh man, it's such a mess.
So, hey, listen. Unfortunately, you know, they're a little anxiety-ridden, but in the end, it'll be fine. They'll be fine. So if you're a firm believer in float pain, continue to keep believing. Keep the hope alive. They'll stay on the platform. Subscribe to the channel if you've been watching. I've been getting viewers, but I have not been getting subs. Please sub. Please. Uncle Sam wants you to sub.